Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're at. Today, I'd like to talk about the subject of what is love. Now, this might seem like a silly question or a silly topic because many of us believe that we know what love is. The truth is, I believe there's about 98% of the world that hasn't got a concept of what real love is. I have been asked this. I have heard people say, what is love? Because, number one, there's so many different kinds of love. There's love between parents and children, parents and animals, and then in a relationship, different kinds of love. Love based on anger, on volatile love. Some would believe even that's love. And as interesting as it might be, it might be love. Who knows? I would say that the majority of the people believe that the stories that we've been told of what love is, the fantasy of an ideal marriage with 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and yada, yada, yada. That's not love. That's an idea of how to live. We've never really been told how to express love or how to feel love, how to embrace it. And I feel that's because people can't teach or demonstrate what they don't know. My stepfather, who I love dearly, was one of these people. He didn't know how to show that he cared for a person outside of picking at them, tickling, and just, joking around with them. Because that's what he was shown. He didn't have a different example of how to love. It wasn't that he was trying to be malicious. It was just that he didn't know any better. And I believe that that's what a lot of our world is in many ways, in many areas. We look at people or couples that have been married for 50 years or 75 years and say, oh, they know how to love. Well, that is an accomplishment, but how many of them are actually happy in that relationship? Or how many of them are just putting up with it because they took this vow that they would be together until death do them part? I know a lot of those. So is that a real love, or is that just a thread of a happy story woven through those years? With that said, what is love? What is real love, and how do we find it? Well, real love comes from within ourselves. We are love. Love comes from the source, from the absolute, the universe, because that's all there is there. We forget that connection, and when we come here to the physical, and we forget what real love is and how to show it. But we have it within ourselves, and we can experience it through allowance. Now, that might seem like a strange word or description of how we experience love. But if we look at the word allowance, the ability to in this case, the ability to let someone be who and what they really are, the person that we have feelings for, our partners, our spouses, whatever that might be. When I say allowance, I mean total, unconditional allowance. Now, you can substitute love in there, because that's what it is. We allow that person to be who and what they truly are. We understand that they're here for the experiences they came here for, just as we are. In the human level, it means they might do something that society doesn't accept as normal or acceptable, whatever normal is. There is no such thing, but we believe there is. In the unconditional aspect of love, we hold no judgments. We don't hold any expectations or restrictions on this person, because we understand that they have come here to have these experiences in the human realm, just like we have. And when we find that connection with another, when we enter into this relationship, we do it hopefully honestly and openly. No masks and no falsehoods of who we are. We bring our true self to it. And when we can do that, then we are bringing the love that we have and the truth of that love into the relationship. I kind of strayed a little bit, so let me get back on topic here. When we love a person enough to allow them to be who and what they are, then we understand that they're here to have these experiences, and that means any experience, including what might be considered wrong or bad. That's a social judgment, and it doesn't serve anyone really, because now you're limiting things through those judgments. And I don't mean you personally, I mean you as the social general you. So here's a question. If you believe you are in love with someone and that person goes out and murders someone, would you still love them unconditionally? If they molested a young teenager, would you love them regardless? If you had unconditional love for them, you would, because you understand that those are the experiences they came here to have. Social bias would have you believe otherwise. And in order to have this unconditional love for this person, we have to resist those social biases and hold space for them to be the person that they are. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to agree with their choice or that you have to maintain the relationship, because with actions comes consequences, natural consequences, and of course in this human realm, man-made consequences or artificial ones. So perhaps you were with this person until they committed this act or made this choice to have this experience, and now you have the options and choices of, do you want to stay with this person? Do you want to support them? That doesn't mean you can't love them. You can love the person. You don't have to love the act that they did. Okay? It may cause you internal confusion and disruption, pain, anger, a lot of emotions. But those are your choices to go there and feel those. And that's all right if that's what you choose to do, so long as you don't carry that baggage forward. Feel what you're feeling and then let it go. You don't have to hold on to it and drag it through your life. You don't have to try to figure out why your partner or your loved one committed these acts. It's simple. It was a choice. It was an experience they came here to have. Let it go. Now, I know that sounds a lot easier than sometimes it feels, but that's because we've been indoctrinated to believe that we can't let go of that. And that includes untimely deaths or leaving us in an untimely manner. But we still can love the person. And I hope you can see the distinguishment between the two. You don't have to love the act, but you can still love the person. Now, I understand that this might be a concept that's hard to believe or accept. However, I can assure you that it is a truth. And I know this because it happened. The 18-year-old who shot up that Texas school, I'm sure the parents still love the child, the boy, but are perplexed as to why he did this. And that's okay. You can ask yourself, what in the world made him do this? But the fact remains that he did do it. That is an undisputed situation. Everything happens in absolute perfection, even though it is sometimes extremely difficult to accept or to understand because of our perceptions and judgments. Real love is giving the support to a person in our life and desiring them to succeed. How do you reach this level? How can you get to the point where you feel this way? Well, you can only reach this point when you understand and accept deep within yourself that they don't belong to you and you don't belong to them. They don't belong to anyone. They are their entity. They are here to have the experience and then move on to the next experience, whatever that might be. Now, the two of you are here, say you are in a relationship, and the two of you are here to experience the opportunity of unconditional love in this co-created relationship. And you open yourself up to whatever may come without judgments or expectations. If you do that, then you have to forget a lot of these stories that society has told us is the way to live. Jealousy, this idea that somebody can cheat on you, because cheating is in response to a failure of that person to follow the ownership guidelines. And I say ownership in the aspect that, you have taken these vows of, I won't do this to you and you won't do this to me and yada, yada, yada. How can you make those vows? Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future of what you're creating on a daily basis. Things change. Change is the only constant in life. So to make these kind of vows is actually self-defeating, if you understand what I'm talking about. It is also judgmental and a controlling thought, which blocks the unconditional love aspect of a relationship. So what is unconditional love? Well, that's what we are. We are truly unconditional love. We come from unconditional love at source, or some call it God, whatever. It is a feeling that we have for someone, hoping that they achieve absolutely everything that they came here for. We don't place restrictions. We don't put limitations. We don't feel a need to change them to our vision of what they need to be. We accept them for who and what they are. It might mean that you end up not living together or sharing a bed or whatever. But if we truly love a person, then we support them. We hold space for them to succeed in their life. And when I say hold space, I mean that creates this element within ourselves of understanding that they are here for these experiences. Our judgments don't serve to further their experience. In our human world, we have this belief that we become responsible for another when we enter into a relationship. But the reality is that this couldn't be any further from the truth. We are responsible for only ourselves. When I say responsible, I simply mean that we are responsible for the choices we make in our life, not for those of our partner or loved ones. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't participate in the relationship of living together, co-creating this, and having the experiences of being these co-creating entities, God goddesses. It only means that we're conscious of the fact of two people agreeing to participate without limitations or expectations. And that's it. That is, in truth, what a partnership is. We are responsible for only ourselves. Now, of course, if you're having children, there is an innate responsibility to make sure that they are safe and we protect them from some of the hazards of the life that we are in today. But that is only until they get up to a place where they can make conscious choices for themselves. And then we start to let go of the reins that we have on them and let them start experiencing life. We have the unconditional love for them to succeed. I hope that makes sense. Now, this might seem like a recipe for chaos, but that's a social belief, and it really has no basis. There are many what we would call third world tribes or communes that live together in total harmony by doing exactly this. And they don't have buildings that they put people in because they were bad. We have more jails and prisoners per capita than any other country in the world. And yet we think we're so advanced. If we were truly advanced, we wouldn't judge the people based on a few simple circumstances. That is not showing unconditional love. Now, you can be with whom you choose, and no one says you're wrong for your choice. And that's an example of unconditional love. You can be gay, and that is totally acceptable. That's what you're here to experience. Now, if the person you are involved with meets someone who they have a strong connection with, is it really acceptable to place limitations on them because of this idea of ownership through a vow that social ideas have dictated? I'll turn the table for a moment. If you are going through your life, and I don't mean you're going out looking just to hook up. I'm talking about if you are in the grocery store and you happen to meet someone, and I don't care what sex they are, it doesn't matter, that's just a body. You're connecting on that spirit level. If you connect with that person and there is such a draw to you that you both want to express that connection with them, would you want it restricted because you told somebody else that you would be faithful? What is faithful? It just means you're not going out and having sex with someone else. That's because it feeds the insecurity of the social standing. Many people are so insecure within themselves about what's going on in their relationship. Will he leave me? Will she find somebody else and have sex with them? And oh my God, what's that going to do to me? Well, step away from the me for a minute and realize that we're all here having experiences. That's why I'm doing this, is to help us to move past these social limitations and ideas. Now, I'm not saying you go out and be promiscuous. That's not it. I'm talking about that feeling that I was describing of such a draw that if you didn't connect, you would physically hurt. And trust me, I've been there. I've had that experience. I did put it off because I felt that that was not the thing to do. That wasn't an acceptable way to behave. Fortunately, the other person and I met up again. We got a second chance at it. I will have to admit that I had never felt anything like that again. It was so, the energy, and at the time I didn't understand how to describe it because I wasn't in this mind. I was very much in the social beliefs, but the energy that was between the two of us was so intense. I literally felt like we became one. We were back to being one again. Now, as I said, now I understand how to describe it. At the time, I just felt, man, that was great sex. But it was so much more than that. But that's what we use the sex for, is to express our unconditional love with someone. Whether that's right or wrong is immaterial. That's just what it is. That's how we do it. That's what the human expression of unconditional love is, many, many times. Now, of course, there's a whole many other ways to do it. I mean, unconditional love can be many other things as well. It can be taking care of an elder who's ill and showing them compassion and taking care of their physical needs and stuff like that, or other needs that they have, and showing that compassion to them. My wife and I had this understanding prior to getting married that we would not put these limitations on each other. And we discussed this in depth, but we both agreed that if we found someone who made us feel like this, that to act upon it would be acceptable. We were secure within ourselves, within our relationship, that even if we did act upon this, we could come back to each other and discuss it, determine, do we want to keep our relationship going, or was this something that is causing you to move on? Now, it never happened. We never were put in that place, but we did hold space for it, just in case it did happen. We knew these experiences were possible, and therefore we didn't close doors on it. The universe is full of experiences that challenge social laws, beliefs, and limitations. And if we can allow our beliefs to open these doors and not put these limitations on us or on other people, then we can live a more powerful and peaceful life. The idea of unconditional love, of true love, is foreign in concept to many people. But we, the ones who are awakening, we can help change that. We can help them, the ones who don't know about this, experience it. If that's their choice. Obviously, we cannot help them across the street if they're not willing to walk. So if they don't choose for it, well, then that's fine. But if they are literally asking the question, what is love? We can help them find that answer. Now, it might be as simple as living your life in unconditional love. And that shows a perfect example of how to do it. If they see this on a repeated basis, then the light bulb can come on. And that is what brings about the idea of be the change that you want to see in the world today. Okay, I've rambled on. I hope that I have brought some insights to this question. I hope that I have explained the process good enough. If not, let me know down in the comments. And once again, I will respond, and if there's a question, I will go into it deeper. You are enjoying these videos? Share it with your friends, because they might be in the same place that you are in. They are curious. They are wanting to know. Wanting to know. See, here we go again. Words. They desire to be able to change their mentality and their thinking. Perhaps these videos would help them. These are seeds that get planted. So share them. There's no problem with that. And go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell, because that way you'll know when I put more videos out. And until that time, I really hope you have a blessed day and keep smiling, because life is good. And be good to people. And believe it or not, I have more than one shirt. So this is not one I just keep wearing over and over again. I'm not that gross, okay? All right. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next time. Bye-bye.